Hey you guys, it's Trisha. Welcome back to my channel. So today, as you can tell, my voice has gotten a little raspy. I'm bulk filming, and this is like video number 5 that I've recorded in the last like 2 hours. So forgive my like raspy, congested sounding voice. So today I am going to be doing my 2017 end of year reading survey, I think is what she called it. I found this from Lala, from Books and Lala, and instead of doing a end of year like favorites or least favorites or whatever that a lot of people do, because this is my first year on BookTube. I started my BookTube channel really late. I started it like in October sometime, and so I wasn't reading the same at the beginning of the year as I was the end of the year. I wasn't looking at books the same, and my shift, there's been a shift in the way that I read books and the way that I enjoy books and the types of books that I'm looking at, and how I remember my books has changed a lot since starting my BookTube channel. And so I can't really honestly speak to favorites or least favorites of what I've read this year. So I decided to do this survey and kind of like, I don't know, gut instinct my answers. I think I can come up with some pretty good answers that way. So I will link Lala's video down below so that you can check it out. It was really interesting, and I really like the idea of this. So I will probably do this in the future again. So there are quite a few questions in this one, and we're just going to jump right on in. Okay, so you're going to see a weird glow, a beautiful glow, because I got my laptop sitting right next to me, and it's screwing up the lighting that I normally use for filming. And so it's going to look like a little different. So first question is, how many books did you read during the year? And I read 65 books total, including rereads. And did you meet your goal? And so yes and no, like not really. If you guys haven't yet, I will link my video for my 2017 reading challenge wrap up. I met my goal because I don't have a goal. Like, I don't know, like I didn't set anything. But I also didn't meet my goal because what I did set myself with my challenges was 36 challenges where I wanted to expand my reading genres and my what I normally go for. And I didn't meet all of those. However, this was the first year that I did it, and so I didn't really have an expectation. It was just kind of experimental. So yes and no. What was your most read genre? I read mostly YA fantasy. What were the longest and shortest books that I read this year? And the longest book was The Count of Monte Cristo. I read that on audiobook. It was over 62 hours long, or in pages, that was 1,276 pages. So that was the longest. And then the shortest book that I read was Dear Ijawele by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and that was 63 pages. What was your favorite book published in 2017? And that one was Eliza and Her Monsters from Francesca Zappia. This one was fantastic. I don't really read YA contemporary, and I loved this one. What was your favorite book that you read that was not published in 2017? And that was Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I did this one on audiobook. It was narrated by Tim Gerard Reynolds. I loved it so much, I got all 3 books in the series in hardcover, and I'm going to read them again. What was your favorite debut book from 2017? And so I think that means the author's first book, and it was published in 2017. And so for that, I'm going to go with All Are Wrong Todays by Ilan Mastai. This is one that I got an ARC for. It came out in February. What was a book that you read that you felt lived up to the hype? And for that one, it was The Shining by Stephen King. I had never read any Stephen King books, and I liked the movie The Shining. This was so well done. It did live up to the hype, and it shattered the ideas that I had about the movie. What was a book that you read that did not live up to the hype? And I didn't hate it, but The Night Circus, guys, like, it just didn't speak to me. I kind of get where people really, really, really loved it. But for me, like, that wasn't enough. So it didn't live up to the hype for me. A book that you read that felt like the biggest accomplishment. And so I would say The Count of Monte Cristo because it was so long. It was so long, but that was not my biggest accomplishment. My biggest accomplishment was The Secrets of Drearcliff Grange School by Kim Newman. If you've watched my review, you will understand why I feel that this is an accomplishment. Favorite character? Definitely Severo from Red Rising, the trilogy. He's a character that grew on me. I read the entire trilogy this year. He's a character that grew on me from the beginning, and by the time I got to the end, I was just in love. He's so good, and I loved all of the characters in this series. But Severo. Least favorite character? Definitely Tessa from After. I thought the book was trash, and I didn't connect to her as a main character. I didn't understand her. I didn't like her. The most shocking book or moment, and for me, that was definitely the end of Golden Sun, the second book in the Red Rising trilogy by Pierce Brown. I can't tell you. If you've read it, you know. If not, you need to go read it. This put me in such a book hangover that it took me, I think, like 6 or 7 months before I could bring myself to read book 3. And normally, like, book cliffhangers make me want to go on, but, like, I could not move on to book 3. Favorite couple or OTP? And for that, I'm going to kind of half answer this. Like, Evie and Sam from the Diviners series, or Evie and Jericho from the Diviners series. I don't like love triangles, but, like, I can't pick. I mean, but maybe even, like, they could be like a trio or something, because even Sam and Jericho have some, like, great chemistry. My OTP, my OT3, like, I'm gonna go with that one. Like, Sam, Evie, and Jericho, yes. The best written book that you've read this year. And for that one, I'm going to have to go with The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. It was incredibly well written. The book that you pushed the most people to read in 2017. And there were 2, Eliza and Her Monsters and Red Rising. Favorite book cover of the year. And I don't own this one, but it's An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. I read this book because of the cover. It's, like, slightly shiny in person. I mean, the picture doesn't really do it justice, but it is a beautifully done cover. I didn't particularly care for the book, but the cover was just so well done. Favorite adaptation? And I'm not going to pick Harry Potter for this because that was, like, a reread for me. So my favorite adaptation for something that was new to me would definitely be 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. So I read that one right after the Netflix series premiered, and then I watched the Netflix series right after, and I envisioned it going differently, but I really enjoyed the way they adapted it. And so, like, it wasn't my favorite, but I am interested in watching the second season or the follow-up season to it when it comes out. What book made you cry the most? And that one was Morning Star by Pierce Brown. This is book 3 in the Red Rising series. I cried 3 separate times during this book. This book broke me. It was so well done. The characters are so well done, and I'm an easy crier, but, like, for me to cry that number of times in a book is really something. What book made you laugh the most? And that one is The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albatari. That one was very chuckle-worthy. I did find myself laughing at that one. I found it very humorous, and I quite enjoyed it. It wasn't like a 5-star read for me, but it was something that I did find a lot of humor in. A new favorite author that you've discovered this year is definitely going to be Pierce Brown for the Red Rising series. I'm super excited because Iron Gold comes out in January, so I'm super excited for that. And then Francesca Zappia. I am going to read her second book. I think that she has a great storytelling capability, and so I definitely enjoyed both of them for their different writing styles. Guilty pleasure read of the year? Literally nothing. I don't have guilty pleasure reads, and the one that would have been like kind of guilty pleasure, like I hated after. And that was the only thing that I could even remotely consider being a guilty pleasure read, because it was like a Wattpad thing. I hated it, so it wasn't a favorite guilty pleasure read. Favorite book that I reread this year is You're Never Weird on the Internet Almost by Felicia Day. This one I listen to on audiobook, and I do it usually once a year, and it always makes me feel better. It's always a 5-star read for me when I listen to it, so definitely that one, because I'm not going to pick Harry Potter. And was I happy with my reading year this year? Yeah, I was. I didn't really have any expectations, and I am very happy with what I read. I read a wide array of rated things. If you watch my 2017 reading challenge wrap up, you'll know that my ratings were very varied, and I'm okay with that. I'm super okay with that. And then what will I do differently in 2018 for reading is I'm just going to push even farther to read outside of my normal genres. I'm going to try to throw some more nonfiction into what I read for the year. So yeah, I'm going to do that. All right, you guys, so that is my 2017 end of year reading survey. Let me know, did you do this video? Because I would love to watch it. Leave me a link down below if you've done this one. And, tell me what were some of your answers on the list? Like, what was the longest book that you read, or the book that made you cry the most? Let me know down below in the comments. I would love to discuss that. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.